The internet didn't just react to this story. It erupted. Because a moment that lasted less than 10 seconds has suddenly turned into one of the most explosive celebrity mysteries of the year. And the names at the center of it all: Tamar Braxton, Toni Braxton, and Birdman. Three names that were never supposed to collide in a scandal like this. But now the internet is asking one chilling question. What exactly did Tamar almost reveal? It started with a live stream that looked completely normal. Tamar Braxton was doing what she always does, laughing with fans, reading comments, throwing playful shade, and keeping the energy loud the way only Tamar can. Then someone in the chat typed one word: Birdman. And everything changed. Tamar paused. Her smile faded. Her expression tightened in a way fans immediately noticed. And then she said something that made the entire live stream chat explode. "Y'all don't even know the half of what happened with that man." In seconds, the comment section turned into chaos. Fans started begging her to spill the tea. Others demanded she explain what she meant. Screenshots started flying across social media before she could even finish her thought. But what happened next is the moment that turned a rumor into a full-blown internet storm. A voice suddenly cut through the room. Sharp. Immediate. Unmistakable. Toni Braxton. No. Tamar. Stop. Silence. Tamar froze. The chat froze. For several seconds nobody spoke. And then Tamar suddenly laughed nervously, changed the subject, and moved on like nothing had happened. But by then, it was already too late. Because the clip had been captured. Within minutes it was everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, gossip blogs, celebrity reaction channels. Millions of people replaying the same moment over and over again. What was Tamar about to say? Why did Toni shut her down so quickly? And what exactly happened between Toni Braxton and Birdman that Tamar believes the world still doesn't know? Now insiders are claiming Tamar was seconds away from revealing a secret that could completely change how fans view one of the most mysterious relationships in the music industry. And if those insiders are telling the truth, that 10-second interruption may have stopped one of the biggest celebrity revelations in years. The moment that live stream clip hit social media, it moved faster than anyone expected. Within minutes the internet had turned into a giant investigation board, with fans replaying the footage frame by frame like detectives searching for hidden clues. Because the tension between Tamar and Toni in that tiny moment didn't look staged, it didn't look playful, and it definitely didn't look like typical Braxton sister banter. It looked serious. The kind of serious that makes people suddenly stop talking when cameras are still rolling. And the internet noticed immediately. Clips of Tamar saying, "Y'all don't even know the half of what happened with that man," were reposted thousands of times within the first hour. TikTok creators slowed the footage down, zoomed in on Tamar's face, and pointed out the exact moment her expression changed. Some claimed she looked frustrated. Others said she looked like someone who had been holding something in for a very long time. But the most talked about moment wasn't Tamar speaking. It was Toni. Because the way Toni interrupted didn't sound casual. It sounded urgent. "No. Tamar. Stop." Those three words ignited an avalanche of speculation. Fans immediately began asking why Toni would shut down her sister so quickly. Tamar has always been outspoken, emotional, and sometimes chaotic in public conversations. That's part of what fans love about her. But Toni has always been the calm one. The composed one. The sister who knows exactly when to speak and when to stay silent. Which made that interruption feel intentional. Calculated. And maybe even protective. Within hours of the clip going viral, a popular celebrity blogger posted a thread claiming Tamar had been venting privately about Birdman for months. According to the Post, Tamar believed Toni had stayed quiet about certain situations involving Birdman out of loyalty, but Tamar felt the truth would eventually come out anyway. The thread didn't provide proof, but it contained one line that immediately caught fire across social media. Tamar thinks Toni protected Birdman longer than she should have. The comment sections exploded instantly. Fans began debating whether Tamar might actually know details about Toni and Birdman's relationship that had never been revealed publicly. Others accused the blogger of creating drama for clicks. But the rumor mill was already spinning too fast to stop. Then the timeline digging began. Fans started looking back at every moment Birdman had appeared around the Braxton family over the years. Old episodes of Braxton family values resurfaced overnight. Clips of Birdman attending family events, sitting quietly during gatherings, and interacting with Tamar was suddenly being examined like hidden evidence. Most of the footage showed nothing unusual. But that didn't stop people from analyzing every detail. A laugh that lasted a second too long. A glance between Tamar and Birdman. A moment where Tamar jokingly rolled her eyes during a conversation about Toni's relationship. Individually, none of those moments meant anything. But when fans stitched them together into viral TikTok edits, the narrative started feeling bigger. And that's when the second bombshell dropped. A screenshot. The image appeared on a gossip forum first, then spread across Twitter like wildfire. It showed what looked like a private text message conversation between two unidentified contacts. One message read, "Toni told Tamar years ago not to talk about what she saw." The next message was even more shocking. "She promised she wouldn't." Nobody could verify whether the screenshot was real. But it didn't matter. Within minutes, fans were debating what she saw could possibly mean. Was Tamar referring to something that happened during Toni and Birdman's relationship? Was it a business situation? A personal argument? Or something even more serious? The mystery only deepened when another piece of footage surfaced. This time it was from a red carpet interview Toni did years ago, during the early days of her relationship with Birdman. The interviewer had asked her what surprised her most about him. Toni paused before answering. "He lives in a world that's very intense," she said carefully. At the time the comment sounded harmless. But now fans were replaying the clip with new suspicion. What did she mean by intense? Was it the music industry? The lifestyle? Or something she never fully explained? Meanwhile, Tamar's silence after the live stream clip became another major topic of conversation. Normally, Tamar responds quickly to rumors about herself. She's known for jumping on Instagram live to clap back at critics, defend herself, or set the record straight. But this time, nothing. No posts. No tweets. No follow-up live streams explaining what she meant. And that silence only fueled the speculation further. A popular entertainment podcast released an emergency episode breaking down the viral clip. During the discussion, one host claimed an anonymous source had reached out with additional details about what happened behind the scenes during that live stream. According to the source, Tamar had been venting about Birdman earlier that day in a private conversation with friends. She allegedly believed Toni had endured more stress during that relationship than fans realized. When the live stream question about Birdman appeared, Tamar reportedly reacted emotionally because the topic was already fresh in her mind. But the part that shocked listeners was what the source said next. They claimed Tamar had been seconds away from mentioning a specific argument between Toni and Birdman. An argument that supposedly happened shortly before their relationship ended. The podcast couldn't confirm the story. But the host said the source insisted Toni cut Tamar off because mentioning that argument publicly could reopen old wounds for everyone involved. If that claim is true, then the live stream moment might not have been about protecting Birdman at all. It might have been about protecting Toni. Still, the internet wasn't ready to let the mystery go. Fans began tagging celebrities in the viral clip asking for reactions. Some responded with cryptic tweets. One rapper wrote, "Family secrets always leak eventually." Another posted a simple emoji combination that people interpreted as a hint that more drama might be coming. Then came the moment that pushed the story even further. Late that night, another anonymous account posted what they claimed was a voice memo Tamar had sent to a friend weeks earlier. The audio couldn't be verified, but the voice sounded eerily similar to Tamar's. And in the recording, the woman said something that made listeners freeze. People think they know what happened with Toni and Birdman, but they don't. The clip ended there. No explanation. No names. Just a sentence hanging in the air like a loaded question. And now the internet is asking something even bigger than before. If Tamar Braxton truly believes the public doesn't know the full story about Toni and Birdman, what exactly was she about to reveal before Toni told her to stop? The internet barely had time to process that mysterious voice memo before the entire situation exploded into a full-blown social media war. By the next morning, Tamar Braxton's name was trending across multiple platforms, Birdman's name was trending right beside it, and Toni Braxton was suddenly pulled back into a story she had clearly tried to keep buried. Fans weren't just discussing the live stream anymore. They were dissecting everything. Reaction channels popped up overnight analyzing Tamar's body language. TikTok creators zoomed into the moment Toni interrupted her. Some even claimed you could see Tamar glance toward Toni seconds before she spoke, like someone already debating whether to cross a line she knew might cause trouble. And that's when another piece of alleged evidence surfaced. A leaked group chat. The screenshots appeared on a gossip blog first, then spread across Instagram like gasoline on fire. The messages supposedly came from someone inside the Braxton family's extended circle. No names were attached, but the conversation hinted at something much bigger than a casual disagreement. One message read, "Tamar been wanting to say something about him for years." Another message followed seconds later. Toni told her it's not worth reopening that door. Within minutes, fans began forming sides. Some people believed Tamar had every right to speak freely if she felt her sister had been hurt. Others argued that family loyalty meant respecting Toni's decision to move on quietly without dragging the past back into public view. The debate became emotional fast. Because this wasn't just celebrity gossip anymore. It was sisterhood. It was loyalty. And it was the kind of family tension that millions of viewers felt like they had watched unfold for years on Braxton Family Values. But the real chaos started when another voice entered the conversation. Toni Braxton. Late that evening, Toni posted a cryptic Instagram story that fans immediately connected to the controversy. The post was simple, but the timing made it feel loaded. Sometimes silence protects people who don't deserve it. She didn't mention Tamar. She didn't mention Toni. And she definitely didn't mention Birdman. But within minutes the screenshot was everywhere. Fans began speculating whether Toni was supporting Tamar's desire to speak out. Others believed the message was aimed at the internet itself, warning people not to assume they understood the full story. And then the celebrities started reacting. One reality TV personality tweeted, "Family secrets always explode eventually." A music producer posted, "Birdman got more stories than people realize." Another artist simply wrote, "I'd love to hear Tamar finish that sentence." The reactions poured gasoline on the fire. By midnight, YouTube commentary channels were uploading hour-long breakdowns about the live stream moment. Twitter threads were connecting the rumor to old Cash Money controversies. Some bloggers even began speculating that Tamar's comment might be related to stories artists had told over the years about Birdman's business practices and loyalty expectations. But the most shocking moment came when Toni Braxton herself finally posted something. It wasn't an interview. It wasn't a live stream. It was a single tweet. 3 words. Leave it alone. That was it. No explanation. No context. Just a quiet warning that somehow made the situation feel even bigger. Because people immediately began debating what those words meant. Was Toni speaking to Tamar? Was she addressing the internet? Or was she trying to stop a story from getting out of control before it revealed something she had worked hard to keep private? But the silence didn't last long. Because hours later, another alleged insider leak appeared, and this one was far more explosive. A podcast host claimed someone close to the Braxton family had reached out to them directly with new information about what Tamar was about to say during that live stream. According to the source, Tamar had been referring to a confrontation between Toni and Birdman that allegedly happened near the end of their relationship. The argument reportedly took place inside a private studio after a disagreement about loyalty. Voices were raised. Tempers flared. And according to the source, Tamar happened to be present when the argument reached its peak. The host made it clear they could not verify the story. But the description alone sent listeners into shock. Because if Tamar truly witnessed a heated confrontation between Toni and Birdman, that would explain why she felt so strongly about the situation during the live stream. But the part of the story that made people gasp came next. The source claimed that during the argument, Toni allegedly told Birdman something that stunned everyone in the room. "You can't control everything." The room reportedly went silent. Birdman allegedly walked out without responding. And according to the source, that moment marked the beginning of the end for their relationship. Again, there was no proof. But the story spread across the internet in minutes. And suddenly Tamar's live stream comments sounded very different. "Y'all don't even know the half of what happened with that man." If that confrontation story is even partially true, Tamar's frustration suddenly makes sense. Because from her perspective, she might feel like people have misunderstood her sister's relationship for years. Some fans began praising Tamar for almost speaking out. Others criticized her for nearly revealing something her sister clearly wanted to keep private. And as the arguments intensified online, something else began trending. A question. What exactly was Tamar about to say next before Toni stopped her? Because according to one more anonymous source who contacted a celebrity blog late that night, Tamar wasn't just about to mention the argument. She was about to reveal something even more surprising. Something that would have made the entire internet look at Birdman's relationship with the Braxton family in a completely different way. But the part that has everyone holding their breath tonight isn't the rumor itself. It's the possibility that Tamar might not stay quiet forever. Because if the live stream proved anything, it's that Tamar Braxton was seconds away from saying something she has apparently kept inside for years. And now millions of people are waiting to see whether she decides to finish that sentence. By the time the third wave of rumors hit the internet, the situation had completely spiraled beyond a simple live stream moment. What began as Tamar Braxton almost saying something on camera had now turned into a full-blown cultural spectacle, with millions of fans dissecting every word, every pause, and every reaction from the Braxton family. The biggest question echoing across social media wasn't even about Birdman anymore. It was about the sisters. Because people started noticing something strange. Tamar was quiet. But Toni was watching. Fans realized that while Tamar had stayed silent since the live stream clip went viral, Toni had been quietly active online. She wasn't addressing the rumors directly, but she was liking certain posts, ignoring others, and responding to a few fans in ways that only fueled the speculation further. Then something happened that pushed the entire situation into another level of chaos. A fan posted a tweet that read, "Tamar almost told the truth and Toni shut it down." And to everyone's shock, Toni liked the tweet. The internet exploded instantly. Within minutes, screenshots were circulating everywhere. Comment sections flooded with theories. Some people believed Toni had liked the post accidentally. Others believed it was intentional, a subtle way of acknowledging that Tamar had indeed been about to reveal something real. But before the debate could settle, Toni removed the like. Too late. The damage was done. Bloggers immediately began posting headlines suggesting Toni might have accidentally confirmed that Tamar's comment wasn't just random frustration. And that's when the next leak surfaced. This time it wasn't a screenshot or a voice memo. It was a story. A long, detailed account posted by an anonymous insider claiming they had been present during one of the final gatherings between Toni Braxton, Tamar Braxton, and Birdman before Toni ended the relationship for good. According to the source, the tension had been building for months. They claimed Birdman's presence around the family had become increasingly complicated. Tamar allegedly felt protective of Toni and occasionally challenged Birdman during private conversations, especially when disagreements about loyalty or business came up. Most of those moments stayed private. Until one night changed everything. The insider claimed the family had gathered at a private dinner where Birdman and Toni arrived together, but the atmosphere felt different immediately. The room was tense. Conversations were short. And Tamar, according to the source, seemed unusually quiet. Then, during dinner, something happened that shocked everyone at the table. Birdman allegedly made a comment about loyalty within relationships, suggesting that certain people around Toni were interfering in things that weren't their business. The room reportedly went silent. Because everyone knew who he was talking about. Tamar. And according to the insider, Tamar didn't stay quiet for long. She reportedly fired back with a response that made the entire table freeze. "If you're treating my sister right, nobody would have anything to say." The tension exploded instantly. The source claimed Toni tried to calm the situation down, but the conversation had already gone too far. Voices were raised. Accusations flew back and forth. And then Toni stood up. According to the story, she looked at Tamar first, then Birdman. And she said something that ended the argument immediately. "This stops tonight." The room went silent again. Birdman allegedly walked out shortly afterward. And the insider claimed that moment was the final fracture in their relationship. Again, no proof surfaced to confirm the story. But the internet didn't care. Because the narrative felt believable to fans who had watched the Braxton family navigate emotional confrontations for years on television. And suddenly Tamar's live stream moment made more sense than ever. If she had witnessed that kind of argument, it would explain why her tone changed when Birdman's name appeared in the chat. It would explain the frustration in her voice. And it would explain why Toni cut her off so quickly. Because if Tamar had started describing that confrontation publicly, the entire story could have spiraled into something far more damaging for everyone involved. But the biggest twist came the following morning. Tamar finally posted. Not a rant. Not a live stream. Just a short message on Instagram. Sometimes silence protects the people you love. That was it. No names. No explanations. But the timing felt deliberate. Fans flooded the comments asking whether she was talking about Toni, Birdman, or the rumors themselves. Some people praised her for respecting her sister's privacy. Others begged her to tell the full story. Meanwhile, Toni posted something even more mysterious. A photo of herself in a recording studio with the caption, "Peace is priceless." And just like that, both sisters seemed to signal the same message. The past was staying buried. But that didn't stop the internet from continuing the investigation. Fans began replaying Tamar's original live stream again and again, trying to read her lips during the moment Toni interrupted her. Some claimed they could see Tamar start to say another sentence before stopping. Others insisted the tension in the room proved there was more to the story than anyone wanted to admit publicly. And the truth is, there probably is. Because celebrity relationships rarely collapse for just one reason. Fame, pressure, business, family dynamics, and loyalty all collide in ways outsiders rarely understand. The public may never know exactly what Tamar was about to say that night. But one thing is certain. For a split second, Tamar Braxton was ready to speak. And Toni Braxton made sure she didn't. Now the internet is left with the same haunting question that started this entire storm. What was Tamar about to reveal? And if she ever decides to finish that sentence, the story might change forever. And now the entire internet is stuck on the same chilling question. What exactly was Tamar Braxton about to say before Toni shut it down? Because moments like that don't happen by accident. Tamar doesn't suddenly freeze mid-sentence. Toni doesn't jump in that urgently unless something serious is about to spill out. And the fact that both sisters went quiet right after only made the mystery louder. Think about everything that unfolded. The live stream moment. The viral clip. The sudden silence. The cryptic tweets. The insider stories. And now millions of fans are replaying those 10 seconds like it's a hidden clue in a documentary. Was Tamar really about to expose something about Birdman that the public never knew? Was Toni protecting Birdman, or protecting her family from reopening a chapter she already fought hard to close? Or is there an even bigger story sitting behind the scenes that nobody has fully connected yet? Because if there's one thing we've learned from moments like this in the entertainment world, it's that the truth has a way of surfacing eventually. One interview. One slip-up. One person deciding they are tired of staying quiet. And when that moment comes, the entire narrative could flip overnight. So now we want to hear from you. Do you think Tamar was about to reveal something real about Birdman and Toni's relationship? Or do you think the internet blew one awkward moment completely out of proportion? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because this debate is getting louder by the minute. And if you want to stay ahead of every twist, every leak, and every shocking celebrity story before it explodes across the internet, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss what happens next. Because trust me, if Tamar Braxton ever decides to finish that sentence, you're going to want to hear it the second it happens.